welcome back. We just had Andrew Wilkow on from the Wilkow Majority. This guy's great. You know, between him and Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity, they're like the trifecta on talk radio, and have tapped into the silent majority in the United States. And people, you know, love watching them. But we have a very special woman with us today. We got Jennifer Kerns. She's the host of a nationally syndicated show, All American Radio, with Jennifer Kerns. She served as a GOP strategist, a spokeswoman for the California Republican Party, and she's a writer and a researcher for the U.S. presidential debates in 2016. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Hey, great to be with you, David.
Was that an accurate description?
That was pretty good.
All right, all right. So there's so much, you know, going on in this news cycle. It's been crazy. You know, I guess you're not allowed to challenge the election results. Where are the Republicans fighting for election integrity? That's what I want to know. But, you know, what's going on in Congress, it's hard for me to digest and watch after they didn't stand up for Donald Trump, so I kind of almost don't care anymore. But with Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, they're trying to chastise her and take her committee seats away. Is there a double standard here, like Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, who married her brother to get him into the United States, and, you know, all kinds of accusations of financial ethical violations, and then inciting violence and saying the most outrageous things? Is there a double standard between Marjorie and the left?
Well, there certainly seems to be. Look, they're critiquing Marjorie Taylor Greene for her comments about 9/11, but they also forget that Ilhan Omar is the person who gave a speech that said, you know, on 9/11, some people did something.
Yeah.
And so they, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, you know, and I think here's what this is really about. I think that Nancy Pelosi and her caucus, they're already on to the 2022 midterms, right? And their critique of Marjorie Taylor Greene is their first shot, their first salvo in the 22 midterm elections. They're trying to make Republicans look like they're kooks, and that's what this is all about. The other thing this is about, David, is you notice the language that the left is using, that, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene not only shouldn't sit on that committee, but shouldn't be serving in office at all. Well, with all due respect to Nancy Pelosi and her caucus, they don't get to decide whether or not Marjorie Taylor Greene serves. That's up to her constituents. This also matches what they said about the upcoming impeachment here that starts in just a few days, the impeachment trial. Nancy Pelosi actually slipped up and said on 60 Minutes to Leslie Stahl that the impeachment proceedings that are going to start here in a few days are actually more about just making sure that Donald Trump can't run and can't be the nominee again in 2024. Well, with all due respect, that's not up to Nancy Pelosi. That's up to the Republican Party. We get to choose who our nominee is, not Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, the impeachment is supposed to be used for sitting presidents in office, not for political payback. And then, you know, AOC says the dumbest, most outrageous, hideous things all the time, every day, and nobody's asking on the right for her to step down. You know, and that's the difference. You know, the left was screaming while Trump was president for 4 years, oh, he's going to take our rights away from the LGBTQ crowd, and, you know, we're going to take everyone's rights away and all this stuff, and nobody's rights were taken away. And now, you know, now the left wants to silence the right in a violation of the Constitution in my book. But one thing that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, and I know she reversed her position or, you know, clarified it, you know, she said that a plane didn't hit the Pentagon. And I lost one of my best friends in 9/11. And I can't sleep at night when I hear 9/11 truthers. I can't stand them. And it's pathetic and disgusting, because we all know that Muhammad Atta did this and planned it, and the Hamburg cell, and how it was done, and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. We have all the things connected. It was not a U.S. conspiracy. Can she atone for that?
Well, look, you can atone for anything in politics. Look, I was a press secretary for 15 years. I've helped candidates craft statements, even when they do the oops, mea culpa. I've done one or two on my own. Absolutely. Look, we are a forgiving nation. We're a Christian nation. I think all Marjorie Taylor Greene has to do here is issue some sort of statement either on her Twitter feed or from some statement from her office saying, look, there are things I've said where I got carried away.
Yeah.
Maybe I got a bit ahead of my skis. In particular, the statements I made about 9/11. She could do that in 20 minutes, and I think that would be fine. I don't think that would displease her base. I think they're just glad to have her in office. They're glad to have her voice on Capitol Hill, but I would recommend that she do that.
Yeah, and she's the mother of children, married for 25 years. She's an exceptional lady. She has been a voice for conservatives. And we don't want to see her gone, but, I don't subscribe to even like QAnon. He's never been right about anything. Where are these 100,000 indictments that was sealed? So anyway, I want to switch gears a little bit into men in women's sports. How can this be? Have you been following this?
Yeah, here's the interesting thing, David. We actually predicted this. A lot of things that happen in the state of California often then make it to the national stage 5 to 10 years later. And back in 2008, I was the spokesperson for Prop 8. This was the big battle over marriage versus gay marriage. And we brought up a couple of other issues into that race and were called crazy by the Hollywood Reporter and the left and Perez Hilton back at the time. But this is one of the things that we talked about that was on the agenda of the progressives. And that was, teaching kids sex ed as young as kindergarten and putting guys into girls' locker rooms and transgender guys in locker rooms. This is a problem. And I have my focus group of moms from across the country that I talk to. This is the number one issue I've heard from the most people about over the last 2 weeks. Parents are concerned about this. And furthermore, the girl athletes themselves who have been working hard, running track, participating in sports in their schools, they're very concerned about their loss of scholarships and other things that are to come. I am shocked, actually, David, at the progressive feminist party that is the Democrat Party, that they would want to damage girls in a way like this. I think it's the worst thing they've done in the 40 years of the feminist movement.
Doesn't it hurt Title IX? Was it Title IX that gave women all these rights in the sports field? That the left is eating themselves up. They have no identity.
Yeah, it just goes to show you how far left the Democratic Party has gone. The fact that Joe Biden, who's been sort of considered a moderate in his party, would even participate in this and even sign something like this just goes to show you that the payback for Joe Biden's election was due upon arrival. You look at the nearly 50 executive orders that Biden was basically handed a pen and they said, here, sign these. This is your payback for letting you get into office. I think it's pretty clear that Biden is not steering this ship. The progressives of the party are. Yeah,
I was just going to say, is Barack Obama behind the hand puppet? So I think, there's no way that Biden's in charge or has the capacity to have all these comprehensive issues thrown at him at a time. I don't think so. And he never did, without a dementia possibility. So, he was just kind of aloof all the time. It's
you're not alone in that, David. There was an interesting poll out, an NBC News poll. Now, we know that that's no conservative rag, right? Yeah. NBC News came out with an interesting poll on Biden's inauguration day that showed, not only do 72% of Republicans not believe he was elected fairly, 1/3 of independents now have joined those Republicans. They think he was not elected fairly. And here's the kicker. Only 24% of America actually has faith in Joe Biden's personal capacities and his professional abilities to turn the country around. That is very damning for a new president to face. Here's the irony. They laughed at President Trump at saying he only had a 47% approval rating when he got on Marine One on his final day in office. Well, gosh, that was nearly twice what Joe Biden has coming into office. So that's the state of Joe Biden as it currently stands.
Oh, my God. It's scary. It's scary stuff. I can't sleep at night. Jennifer Kerns, we have to go in 20 seconds. Tell us where our viewers can watch you.
They can go to allamericannews.com. We have original content and opinion pieces there. They can get copies of my radio show, allamericannews.com.
All right, Jennifer. I hope to have you back. We can make fun of the left a little bit again, okay? Jennifer, thank you so much.
Thanks, David.
All right, everybody. That was Jennifer Kerns, host of All American Radio. You're watching Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News. Coming up, we have a great guy talking about the New York City and the inner city economies under the lockdowns. Nick Lyons, he's great. We had a super show today. We had Andrew Wilkow, Jennifer Kerns. It's very exciting time in American history, but we have to fight. We're on the ropes, and we have to fight for our free speech, and the silent majority needs to be heard again. This is David Zere. You're watching Breaking Point. We'll be right back.